So Steven, congratulations on the book, Gay and Lesbian Manners. Explain to all of us, why did you want to write it? And also, what about the timing of writing this book?
Well, thank you for sitting down with me, Thomas. It's really great to see you again.
Absolutely.
And, I wrote this book because there's so many new situations for LGBT people. Maybe you've heard we're getting married soon here in this state. A lot of people are coming out. There are all sorts of new situations with families, two moms, two dads, that kind of thing. And there's really no place for us to turn to for advice. And so the book is really for our community to help kind of get through some of the befuddlement of all these new situations.
When you talk about new situations, obviously the most important is the marriage equality issue coming to New York. Did you think when you were writing this book that you would be facing a lot of these questions with such good timing?
I actually never considered that. But yeah, it's happening here in New York, and it's very exciting for so many couples.
For me and for everybody else out there that's going through this, how do you go through this process, and is there a right way or a wrong way? I mean, especially when it comes to, say, a long-term couple who's been together for a long time, they probably consider themselves already married in every other way, shape, and form.
Some people will choose to get married, others will choose to just honor the relationship they have. This was about marriage equality, not sort of mandatory marriage. A gay wedding, like a straight wedding, is at its core about two things: the love between two people and the commitment that they make in front of their family, friends, and loved ones. Then you kind of get into, the details and, who proposes. And, there's no tradition to fall back on, which makes it exciting, and a little bit scary because we really don't know what to do.
A lot of people question, should the guys wear matching outfits? Should women wear matching wedding dresses? And how do you advise on that one?
Great question. And the most important thing when you are the grooms or the brides is to appear as though you're actually at the same wedding, which is to say, you don't want someone in a sweatshirt and the other woman in a princess gown. So whether it's formal or informal, you want to both dress that way. Now that being said, two women don't need to both be in gowns. Reflect who you are, both as individuals and as a couple, and I think you'll feel comfortable, and I think your guests will feel comfortable too.
A lot of parents have seen over the years that they have a problem with the fiancé, whoever their child is about to marry. And now
he or she's not good enough, right?
Right, exactly. So now how are parents supposed to react if they're proud, they want their child to feel engaged in this, the actual act of getting married and being in love, but they have a problem with their kid's fiancé? And it doesn't have to do with them being gay or lesbian, it's just they don't really like who they're about to marry and bring into the family. It's a fine line for parents to walk.
Well, the first thing I would also say is to people in our community, not every slight is homophobia or some flavor or color of that. This is a really good example. If there are parents who just don't like the fiancé for whatever reason, it doesn't mean that they're anti-gay, it means that they're anti-him.
Right.
Not that that's necessarily better or worse, and I think it's it behooves the parents to stand back and keep it to themselves. And the rule for whether or not you attend a wedding is you shouldn't attend if you don't feel that you can support the couple.
Are there certain traditions that are now being evolved and introduced that may not have been a part of wedding traditions of yesteryear?
Well, one of the big differences is that a lot of our weddings have a political overtone. And that really comes out of this drive for marriage equality. And folks who have been married in other states and in DC, their vows have often reflected the struggle that has taken place to get to that point.
So how do you evolve from the politics to the actual party, the celebration, and everybody walks away talking about this for months and years to come?
Yeah. Well, the intersection between politics and partying is very close, and really it's a part of our community too. When you think back to the roots of Pride, to Stonewall, that was a political demonstration that has now become really manifest in a parade and a party. So I think many people in our community are really used to this fusion of both. Now, our parents, our relatives may be less so, And I think this is a little bit of the road that, that we need to take them on, to explain that these marriages wouldn't be happening, without what's happened in the political arena.
Let's talk about the fact that there might be roadblocks that LGBT couples face when they go to make these plans. They're confusing waters to begin with, but how would you suggest that people prepare for the possibility of discrimination, also prepare for wanting to maybe potentially fully support only LGBT providers, people that have a stamp of approval from the LGBT community?
Well, let me tell you a little story. When my partner and I did our ring exchange, we bought our rings in a small town in California, and it was the first time that jeweler had come across a same-sex couple. And it took them a while to understand that we were the two who were partnering, and that there wasn't some female, waiting outside to be brought in. And then when they understood, it got icy, and we had to talk them through it and explain to them that, we were partnering, that this was about our relationship, and while we understood that we were now there first, we were probably the first of many. And so I think that example may play out, for other folks too. Consider the fact that you may be the first who's going to this florist, who's going to this jeweler or this caterer, and don't misunderstand the lack of familiarity with with something else. And you can also go to some really great web resources to find LGBT-friendly vendors, caterers, and so on. As more of these weddings happen, there'll be a pattern. There'll be a little bit of a history, and so those who are getting married now here, they're really groundbreakers. I'm really proud of those who are who are taking this step, and and they'll be in the limelight. I mean, there's going to be a lot of media coverage for this too.
And we always hear about bridezillas. We're going to hear about groomzillas now.
I just want to know exactly who the bridezillas will be, what gender they will actually be in this case.
Right. Well, Steven, thanks for taking this time to sit down and talk about this. Again, congratulations on the book. I think it's going to help a lot of people, especially now since it has that great wedding section. And I appreciate you giving me some advice on how to get through these curvy waters of figuring out engagement and marriage.
Well, it's been a pleasure talking with you, Thomas, and congratulations to you and Patrick on everything.
Thank you. Thank you very much.